Okay, so networking in 2026 is giving main character energy, except most people are still playing a supporting role and they don't even know it. And the wild part is there's a completely different way to do this that most people haven't caught on to yet. And I'm going to tell you how. It's not luck, it's not nepotism. Well, okay, sometimes it is nepotism, but mostly it's networking, except not the networking you're thinking of. Not the, hey, I'd love to connect and pick your brain over coffee type of energy. That era is completely done. The rules have changed. And if you're still playing by the old ones, you're basically showing up to a pickleball court with a tennis racket. You'll look fine, but something is very off. Okay, here's what's actually working in 2026. And I'm going to break it down for you in 5 rules that you can start using this week. By the way, I'm Mary Southern, founder of Resume Assassin. Over the last decade, I've helped more than 4,000 people land jobs at places like Microsoft, Google, Tesla, Netflix, and so many more. So when I say the rules have changed, I've seen it firsthand. What's getting people hired right now versus what used to work 2 years ago? Big difference. Let's get into it. Rule number 1, stop networking when you're desperate. Okay. Here's the one nobody wants to admit. Most people treat networking like a fire extinguisher. It just sits there on the wall looking irrelevant until everything is on fire and suddenly you need it immediately. You got laid off. You hate your job. Your company is doing some restructuring, which is corporate speak for, oh, and now you decide to network. You're sliding into DMs, going to every event, connecting with everyone. And it feels gross because it is a little bit gross. You're not building a relationship. You're asking a stranger for a favor. Here's the reframe. Networking is a slow cooker, not a microwave. The people landing jobs fastest right now are the ones who never actually stopped networking. So when the moment came, they already had people in their corner who actually knew them. Here's your action step. Right now, while you have zero urgency, reach out to 3 people in your industry just to check in. No ask, no agenda, just a genuine human contact. Plant the seeds before you're hungry. Rule number 2, engage with content like it's your freaking job, okay? Cold outreach is really hard. You know what's not hard? Leaving a genuinely smart comment on someone's LinkedIn post. Here's something really wild that's happening with my clients. People are getting recruited not because they messaged a hiring manager, but because a hiring manager saw their comment on someone else's post and thought, who is this person? That's it, okay? That's the whole story. In 2026, your LinkedIn activity is a live audition that you don't even know that you're in. So when you engage thoughtfully with content, not like great post type of energy, but actually adding something to the conversation, you show up on the radar of people who matter. They click your profile, they read your headline, and sometimes they reach out. Think of it like being at a dinner party. You don't have to be the loudest person in the room. You just have to say one genuinely interesting thing, and suddenly everyone wants to talk to you. Here's your action step. Find 5 people in your industry whose content you actually respect. Engage with their posts consistently for the next 30 days. Not spammy, but just be real, be you. Watch what happens. Rule number 3. What recruiters actually want when you reach out. Let me save you from sending another message that gets completely ignored forever. Recruiters are not sitting around hoping you'll cold DM them with, hey, I'm looking for opportunities in product management, would love to connect. Trust me, they get probably 50 to 100 of those every single day. What they actually want, and I say this from years of working alongside them and as one, is to know that you're someone worth remembering for the right role at the right time. So here's what works instead. When you reach out to a recruiter, lead with specificity. Not like, I'm interested in roles at your company, but I noticed you specialize in placing people in fintech operations roles. That's exactly my space, and I'd love to be on your radar for when the right thing comes up. That's it. No resume attached, no desperation added. Just a clear, confident signal that you know what you want and you're not wasting their time. Then, and this is the part that most people skip, follow up every 90 days with something useful. A note about a skill you've added, a heads up that your timeline has changed. Recruiters are playing a long game and they remember the candidates who treat them like humans instead of a means to an end. Rule number 4, use LinkedIn audio and video like almost nobody is. Here's a cheat code that is so underused, it's embarrassing, okay? LinkedIn has audio and video features, voice notes and DMs, video posts, LinkedIn Live, and almost nobody in the job seeker world is using them consistently. Which means if you do, you immediately stand out in a sea of text. Think about it this way. You get a wall of text DMs, and then one person sends you a 30-second voice note that sounds warm, confident, and real. Who do you remember? Exactly. Video posts on LinkedIn right now are getting pushed by the algorithm harder than text posts. A 60-second video of you sharing one genuinely useful insight about your industry will reach more people than a perfectly written post. And it does something a text post can't. It lets people feel like they know you before they've even met you. That's networking without actually networking. Here's your action step. Send your next 3 LinkedIn outreach messages as voice notes instead of text. See what happens to your response rate. I think you're going to be a little bit surprised. Rule number 5. Network after you get the offer. Okay, this one is genuinely a secret weapon, and I do not understand why more people don't talk about it. Most people think networking ends when they get the job. Actually, that's when the most important networking of your career begins. The period between signing your offer and your first day, and then your first 90 days on the job, is a golden window that most people completely waste. Here's what the smart people do. Before day 1, they're already identifying who the key stakeholders and influencers are in the company. Not just their direct team, the people whose opinions carry weight. The connectors, the people who've been there forever and know where all the bodies are buried, metaphorically speaking. And then they schedule coffee chats, informational lunches. They show up in the Slack channels and the internal platforms and engage without being pushy. They're asking questions and actually listening. And what they're doing, whether they realize it or not, is building an internal network before they ever need to use it. And why does this matter? Because when the next opportunity comes up internally, when they're being considered for a project or a promotion, there are already people in that room who know their name and like them. You're not a stranger asking for something. You're someone people already trust. The people who get promoted the fastest in 2026 aren't just good at their jobs. They're good at being known internally. Start building that on day 1, or even before that. Okay, let's bring it home. Here's what we covered today. And look, the game has changed a lot, even just in the last couple of years. Stop waiting until you're desperate to network. Start engaging with content like it's part of your job, because honestly, in 2026, it kind of is. When you reach out to recruiters, give them something specific and memorable, not a copy-paste plea. Use LinkedIn audio and video because almost nobody is doing it. And the ones who are, they're getting the responses. And when you land that offer, don't stop networking. That's when it actually gets really good. The people who are winning right now aren't necessarily the most qualified. They're the most connected. And connection is a skill, which means you can learn it, practice it, and get really, really good at it. If this was helpful, hit subscribe. There's a lot more where this came from. And hey, your network can open the door, but your resume and LinkedIn still have to close it. If those need work, head to resumeassassin.com. That's where you can work with me to get your resume and LinkedIn profile into the shape they need to be in so that when opportunity comes knocking, you're ready. Link is in the description. Now go get it. You've got this.